This is the Lichtman Live post show, the greatest post show that's ever existed on the face of planet Earth. Thank you all for joining me. It's getting hard to do that hair rub. The hair is starting to get a little long. It's not as prickly as it once was. Good evening, Susanna AP. Who else is out there? Suzanne Forasiepi, Andrew Zhang. Amber Owen says, light those bottle rockets. What does that mean? Like just have fun on the 4th of July? Hello, Norman. Nice to see you, Norman. Glad to have you here, Norman. Michael Nightwolf, happy 4th of July to you too. Hello, Underwater Levels. Yo, dude. Susie K's here. Susie K. Everybody loves Susie K now. President Khalidi, our future president, is back. Brett Brown is here. Diego says, first time here. Hello. Thank you, Diego, for being here. This is a Lichtman Live post show. Much more chill vibes, hanging out vibes, you know. We really in this, you know what I'm saying? We really in the Lichtman Live post show. Beth said she was here first. What do I think of Kamala's messaging in 2024? It was weak as heck, dude. Totally weak. Your hair is growing so fast. I know, I'm kind of surprised how fast it's growing. It's about to be in a very awkward, poofy stage. It's like a week away from that. Bettina, yes, thank you for joining the slogan contest. I'm looking forward to the results too. RV says, happy 4 Sam, let us drink. Where can I buy your dad's drink tonight? My dad doesn't really drink. Hello, Lori. Who judges the slogans? My father and I. We're going to sit down and we're going to judge them all. And we're going to create a top 5. And then you all, the audience, will vote for the winner based on our top 5. So it's a combination of us and you. Lori submitted one. Heck yeah. Yeah, I think it should be fun to pick a winner. And hey, if the Dems were smart, they would use it, you know? This is like the first fully formed, I mean, I'm sure they do their own internal research and stuff like that, but, you know, this is a pretty good research project that might be useful for the Dems, just saying, if you're out there. Is Dr. Lichtman going to return to X? Blue Sky's dying. I think he's still on X. I'm pretty sure. Secular Monk says, thanks for your response to my question, Sam. I'm a teacher at a Native American school in Washington, and I'm concerned about my colleague students and their parents. Yeah, it's concerning. I think the best, again, I've done a lot of research on this since I'm working on a documentary on it. The best advice I heard people give is to make sure that you have a tribal ID and you have a U.S. passport. If you have both of those, you should be good to go if you're a Native. Do I ever go on Blue Sky? I think I posted 2 days in a row on Blue Sky. Today or yesterday and the day before that. So go follow me there if you feel like it. I don't have an X, so I have an Instagram too and a Blue Sky. RM says, you get better with every show, young Mr. Lichtman. Me personally? Thank you. How so? SG. Philip H says, I think they're going to start disappearing people. I doubt they'll care much for documents. 1940s all over again. I have to say, when I saw that budget increase that this bill is giving to ICE, I was kind of like, holy crap. They're going to have so much freaking money And look, with money comes power. And who do they listen to? Donald Trump. They're a federal agency under his control. I mean, I guess Congress has some control over them, but certainly not this Congress. They're not going to put any checks on him, right? Obviously, the things that have been happening already, I've already kind of been like, this is so messed up. But when I saw that budget increase, I was like, that is insane. Let me see if I can pull up my tweet about it. Not tweet, Blue Sky post about it. Here it is. Here it is. So the ICE budget is going to go from, it's currently the 2026 budget request was $11.3 billion, right? And Trump's bill, ICE funding bill, increases their funding to $138.8 billion. They're going to be loaded up with cash. It's frightening. And I don't even know if it's going to be possible for them to not deport people who shouldn't be deported. They're going to be moving at such a fast, furious pace. They're going to make mistakes, you know? Emily says, freedom is a universal value. No American wants a police state. I completely agree with you. This is frightening. I mean, this is bigger than like the budget of most countries' entire military spending, minus, you know, like the big China, USA, Russia, basically. And again, it's just so frustrating that they say they don't have money for healthcare, they don't have money for Medicaid, but they've got hundreds of billions of dollars to give to ICE. And again, I said this on the show, this is all built on a house of lies. Removing immigrants from this country are not going to fix the affordability crisis. It's not going to make employment any better. It's not going to make us safer. It's not going to make our healthcare better. None of that. And again, this is all provable through very well done research and statistics. And N Monster says, might be time to self-deport. And again, what is their goal with all this? They want to become this homogeneous society like Japan and Korea and, you know, that are kind of failing societies right now. If America wants to still be on the forefront of the world, you have to embrace new populations and you have to embrace diversity. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you should come here illegally, but I think the U.S. government should do more of a job to, you know, right now it seems like it's, I'm not going to get into that. I don't have a fully fledged thought about that right now, but I do have a fully fledged thought about this, and this is crazy. Thank you, Daniel, for the donation. Hello, I didn't realize you worked on documentaries. Other stuff have you worked on? Do you have any recommendations on what to watch? Yes, I work in film and media. Generally, I mean, where to begin? You know what I mean? Do you have any documentary recommendations? What are you talking about specifically? Documenting America's next president in 28 needs to go big like FDR did in the 20th century. I agree with you. Underwater Level says, I disagree that Korea and Japan are failing societies that actually value their cultures, their traditions, and their history. I see what you're saying. Maybe failing societies is not the right term. And I agree with you. They have really high value in their culture, traditions, and history. I guess maybe they are starting to fall from, slowly start to fall on the world leader list, and on, their economies aren't doing so well, their social systems aren't doing so well, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I actually love Japanese and Korean culture, so I'm certainly not talking down on any of those. No tax on tips will help millions of Americans. You're not wrong, Michael, but the issue is the benefit of that is highly outweighed by the damage that this bill does to your average American. And honestly, a lot of people get their tips in cash and they don't report them anyways. So, love your bracelet, Sam. Looks like Jade or Jasper. This is Jade, yes. N Monster says tax on tips is a scam. Can you elaborate on that? Nevitz Forever says average American will pay more in taxes and get less services. Right. You don't feel no taxes on Social Security benefits for seniors will be helpful. I'm not saying that these things aren't helpful, and that, I'm not saying any of that. I am saying that the negatives of this bill far outweigh any of the positives. And maybe even some of the things like tax on tips might be so outweighed by the negative that they have almost no effect on the general public. If you can't access quality health care, it doesn't matter if your tips aren't taxed or not, Do you have any recommendation for documentaries to watch or look out for? I really, let me see if I could pull up some really quickly. I mean, that's sort of a big question. And people who watch me know that I like to give full thought out recommendations. Let me see if I have some lists on my Letterboxd. Let me pull this up real quick. No, my list. A documentary I watched recently that I really liked is it's on Netflix. It's on the Nuremberg trials. That was really good. Let's see how many docs are on. This is mostly narrative films that I've listed here, but there are some documentaries that I think are on my fave list of all time. Let's see. Oh, Human Flow. This is actually about migration. This one I highly recommend it. It's by Ai Weiwei. He's an artist that I really respect, but highly recommend this one, Human Flow. Let's see, what else do I have on here for documentaries? Honeyland, that's a documentary. This is a really good documentary. I probably need to do a separate documentary list rather than trying to weave it into the narrative list, because it's hard to rank them all next to each other because narratives and docs are so different in my mind. Oh, Cartel Land. This is one of my all-time favorite documentaries. Anything else on this list? Nope. That's it for now. There's really good documentaries on Ukraine. I'm trying to remember some of them. I tried to watch the one that won the Oscar this year, but it was too sad. Oh, this one. I think it's this one. Oh, 20 Days in Mariupol. That's the one that I tried to watch that won the Oscar this year, but it was too hard to watch. Winter on Fire, Ukraine's Fight for Freedom. And this came out well before the current conflict. But it sort of is a good, and it's on Netflix, it's a good understanding of what led up to where we are now, Jeanette says, just seeing the new hairstyle looks good. Thank you, Jeanette. The act of killing will haunt you. Yeah, that's one I have to see. And I've sort of been avoiding because of that. Because I'm like, God, I know that's just going to be such a disturbing documentary. Speaking of hair, there's a good Chris Rock hair documentary called Good Hair. It's about the evolution of black hair and et cetera, et cetera. Just off the top of my head. And there's also like The Fog of War is a great documentary, or The Known Unknowns, the Donald Rumsfeld documentary. I'm trying to think what else. Grizzly Man. Sam, you should play some games. I do play games. I should do it more, though. You're right. Thank you, Jeanette, for your donation. That's very kind of you. Oh, Hoop Dreams is like an all-time great for documentaries. A lot of Ken Burns stuff. Civil War. Ken Burns' Civil War is incredible. Endless Summer. Sorry, I'm looking at a list over here. Endless Summer is one I'd highly recommend. And this is just what Google came up with as the best documentaries of all time. A lot of these I haven't seen. Life Itself is really good. Oh, the Vietnam Ken Burns is also really good. I haven't seen Ken Burns' baseball yet. I haven't seen a lot of these. Let me see. Netflix. Nuremberg doc. So this is the one I've most recently watched. Yeah, this is it. Hitler and the Nazis, Evil on Trial. It's very good, and it very clearly like leads you through the very beginnings of like Hitler's rise and his takeover, and then like and then kind of time jumps between following it chronologically, and then jumps to the trial, the Nuremberg trials, and them trying the Nazis. I don't think it's very famous or anything, but it's just something I've gotten into recently. I've also heard good things about the Osama bin Laden documentary on Netflix, but I haven't checked that out yet. President Khalidi says, I think Elon took advantage of the Dems getting distracted by Trump to disseminate his misinformation. I agree with you. And Frank Remembered is very good. I don't know. A couple of years ago, I tried to start reading her diary, and it was very good, but I don't think I finished it. Do you think Elon Musk will have an impact on the 26 midterms? I don't know. My gut is kind of saying no. But he's got a lot of money. A simple user, I'm not sure what that means. Elijah Joy says, vote all Republicans out now. I agree with you. I don't think any Republican stands for anything that I think is going to help the American people. Generally. Maybe there's some things here and there, but generally speaking. Befil ist Befil means orders are just orders. Yeah. Did you see the genocide tweet by that witch Laura Loomer? I did. It was horrific. Have I seen The Apprentice, the movie? I have not, no. But I need to. Loomer is as scary as Miller. I think she's worse. I mean, the thing is, she doesn't have as much power. So maybe they're equally scary because he has so much power. But she's like totally off her rocker. Hey guys, can we get the... I only have 71 likes. Can we get the likes up, please? Thank you. Elon might be right about the bill being a suicide move by the Republicans. He might be, yeah. Orders are just orders was the defense stance the Nazis took at Nuremberg, which got them hanged by Americans. It's interesting when you watch that documentary how noble America and morally sound America sounds in those Nuremberg trials, and we don't sound like that anymore. Yeah, so what changed, Sam? That's a good question. I think globalization happened, which changed a lot of Americans' outlooks. I'm not saying for the better, but I'm just saying it did. I think that the affordability crisis has really warped Americans' minds, and I don't blame them for that, you know. I also think we had good leadership. I mean, we're talking about, you know, good presidents, FDR during the war. Clipper says the growth of wealth and inequality over the last 4 years is what changed. The wealth divide has made people vulnerable. Totally agree. "9/11 made us lose our minds and not pay for multiple wars." I think that there's no doubt that all those wars in the Middle East cost us a lot of money and changed our perspective on the world and everything. They are willingly ignorant and vulnerable, though. I see what you're saying. I mean, I sort of feel like if you're vulnerable, a side effect of that is ignorance rather than being two equal sort of diagnoses. Sam, go back and listen to Howard Stern on 9/11 again and listen to the callers, the racism and bloodlust. Hard not to see all this coming. I see what you're saying. Tush Deed says we keep spending on defense, which breaks the bank for social safety nets, and we can't progress because deficits can still drive bond markets. When bonds freaks, you have to act. You're a smart man. Sam, with all this rhetoric regarding immigration, do you think there will be violence against Hispanic citizens? There is already violence against Hispanic citizens, and the government is doing it. I mean, I guess you're asking, are average Americans going to start attacking Hispanic people? I hope not. And I'm going to stay positive and say no. But ICE is going to do plenty of terrorizing in the Hispanic community, and they're already doing it, and they're just going to keep doing it as they grow. Clipper says if you keep people poor, they tend to remain uneducated about how they are being taken advantage of. This is how the majority of Trump voters end up voting against their own interests. Exactly. You're a smart person. Diego says, I'm Latino from New Jersey. Some neighborhoods have been emptied out of Latino families. No word where they're sent. That's a scary thought. And now they can send people to third countries. The Supreme Court ruled that. So, you know, not be held in America, not be sent to their country of origin. They can be sent to... The Supreme Court affirmed that, which is a scary thought. I mean, imagine you're from Honduras and you end up in South Sudan. You know, and that's the thing. It's like, we're supposed to be a country of due process and morality and liberty and justice. Does the crime of crossing a border equal the punishment of being sent to South Sudan? I say no. Dupree says our Supreme Court is not doing their job. I think they're, on one hand, they're doing too much of their job, and on the other hand, they're not. Like, whenever Trump needs something, whenever something about Trump comes up, they take it up immediately. And other things that don't, they sort of delay or they don't take up. Sam, would you say you're the most moderate of the Lichtmans? I would not say that, no. Brassman says the Supreme Court is doing exactly the job Trump hired them for. Exactly. Did you hear Julio Chavez Jr. just fought Jake Paul and got arrested and deported? Yeah, that's crazy. He literally fought, I think, on Saturday night, right? Sam, you're not more moderate than your father? I don't think so. I mean, I was a Bernie supporter and he wasn't. Maybe that'll tell you something. I don't know. I think we agree probably on most issues. And maybe on some issues he's a little bit more moderate, or I am. It's hard to say. You supported Bernie and your father went the Dem choice. Yeah, he was a pretty strong Hillary Clinton supporter, and I wasn't. So, and in 2020, I don't know I don't really remember who he was supporting in the primary, but I was leaning towards Warren, Bernie Sanders maybe. I don't think he was. I can't really remember who he was supporting early on in that. Maybe nobody. Maybe I kind of have a memory of him not taking a stance. I don't know. Is it ironic that a significant majority of all those political commentators who are anti-education are well educated themselves? Yes. Absolutely ironic. Has anyone told you that mic stands are not that expensive? I talked about this last week. It's not that I've got 3 things here. It's just that this desk set up here, you guys can't see it. It just, there's nowhere to put a mic properly. So I apologize. 97 likes, guys. Let's get that like up. I'm not sure anyone could be that well educated if they're that anti-education. They're propagandists, so they go to really good schools and get really high education, and they decide to turn their life into one of propaganda, and that's why they're anti-education. Do you believe the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine of 1949 by Ronald Reagan in 87 was responsible for the decline of mainstream media? Yes, to some extent. But it certainly didn't help, let's say that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm spraying at you? Thank you. We reached 100 likes. That's amazing. Don't be a sucker. National Archives available on this platform. It's exactly what is going on today, yet it was made in the 1940s. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Dupree says it's easier to control people if they are not educated. You can tell them anything and they will believe it. Look at the MAGA cult. Do you think America will recover from this insanity, or will we stay on this crazy path? Hunch about the midterms. I think we will recover. I do think we will recover. I think it's going to be a tough 4 years, but I do think we will recover. I think if the Dems, again, get a really strong, powerful FDR-type leader, I know it's a big ask, I think this can be turned around. my hunch on the midterms, I mean, right now, I think the Republicans are in big trouble. But I also thought Donald Trump was in big trouble in 24. So you never know. Sylvian says, FYI, your father was my professor at AU late 80s. That's awesome. Who told you a buzz cut was a good idea? Nobody. Do you have a public email for those of us not on social media? Yes, it's lichtman.sam@gmail.com. Emily says, this bill is so bad that it must have been an acid test to see who could read. If you voted yes, you're illiterate. That's hilarious. I know, my hair does grow fast. Yeah, there's no way anybody in the House or the Senate actually sat down and read that bill. I mean, it's like, it's like 900 pages. They probably got summaries sent to their desk and their specific state stuff sent to their desk, et cetera, et cetera. And let's be honest, there's no way in shot Trump has a full understanding of what's in this bill. And there's no shot in hell he's read it. I mean, that's concerning within and of itself. That's right. It's like nobody has actually read this bill that is voting on it. It's certainly not Trump. They read the entire thing out loud before Congress, and was every member of Congress there sitting there for the entire time? Why does Trump's party consist of cucks? That's a good question. Sam is running late. What does that mean? Raja says, I thought we would, quote, recover from Reagan. It's only gotten worse since, sadly. That's a dark thought. I haven't thought about it quite like that, but I'm still keeping hope alive. Like I said, I think a lot of it will depend on who runs and wins for Dems in 28. Newsom is visiting South Carolina next week. Why? I mean, look, if he did or didn't promise to cut Medicaid, it doesn't matter. It's a bad decision. It's a horrific decision. Whether he's mentioned it before or not, it's sort of irrelevant. My puppy's here. Hi, pup. Nice to see you. And, if he didn't specifically say Medicaid in terms of like, well, he warned he was going to do this, he was talking about cuts, and and even if he's just talking about, I don't know, I'm lost in my own thought. Newsom is visiting South Carolina. President's a roommate. He might run for president. True. Marco says, to the violent members here, just stop. I don't think anybody in the chat is being violent. I'm not surprised he made the cut. It was to be expected. Exactly. And that's why it's weird that so many people in rural America who rely on these things voted for him, because it was to be expected. No threatening, Marco. Ray says, I only get violent when Sam misses in GeoGuessr. Me too. Me too. Big hug to Marco. No threatening Marco. The majority of the Medicaid cuts will affect red states much more than blue states, which have stronger safety nets. 100%. 100%. Thank you, Spencer, for your $5 donation. I guess Australian dollars. There was a 21-point swing amongst African American males towards Trump, 75 down to 54, according to Pew. Do you have any thoughts on why that might be? Is that true? Was it that big of a... Can you email me your lichtman.sam@gmail.com, that Pew thing? That seems big. 21 points among African American males. What do you think of Newsom? I'm not a big fan of him. Nightwolf needs to be permanently banned. Why? He hasn't done. I haven't seen him do anything wrong. He disagrees with a lot of us, but he hasn't done anything wrong. Lichtman.sam@gmail.com. LCG says, I have not watched in a while. You cut all your pretty hair. Hope you're okay. I'm okay. I explained this before, but it's very treatable. But one of my best friend's son has cancer. So when his hair started falling out, me and his dad, we had this, and a bunch of other people came together for this big shaving head party, and I shaved my head to make him feel more comfortable about shaving his. So yes, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Now, since this bill has passed and now ICE is one of the best funded groups in America, do you think Donald Trump is going to use it as his own personal militia and army? I mean, we already talked about this a little bit, this thing. To some degree, yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know if how it goes as far as saying he'll use it as his own personal militia, but he's certainly going to use it to terrorize immigrant groups in this country. Who do you think should run? I think everybody should run. And we should see what happens, and that's my opinion. Zohran is bad for the Democratic Party. I don't agree. Is he the perfect model for every Democrat going forward? Probably not, but he's a good step in a progressive direction, I think. Zohran's too far left. Maybe he is, but let's find out and see. Let's see what he does, you know? Yeah, maybe in the end he'll be too far left, but maybe he'll change Americans' lives for the better. What happened to your hair? I literally just answered that 2 seconds ago. Rewatch the stream and scroll back a little bit from this point. Buttigieg would be good for the party, maybe. The stranger says, I hope AOC runs. I hope she does too. The ICE budget is now larger than the FBI. Yeah, that's crazy. He's better. He's better than Cuomo. Absolutely. Completely agree. My mom admitted she voted for Eisenhower. I'm very disappointed with her. My dad always talks great about Eisenhower. Pete is too moderate and soft-spoken. We need someone strongly liberal and very outspoken. Again, I think everybody should run. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with your analysis, but everybody should run. And hopefully we don't just line up behind, the DNC pick. Really, really, the DNC should step back and really let the voters choose who they want. And I'm not saying that the DNC gave the election to Hillary or gave the election to Biden. I think that's a step too far. I know a lot of Bernie supporters say that, but I do really feel like let's fight it out between Dems and get a good, solid pick. And my opinion, I think everybody should run, but my opinion is it should be a progressive-minded candidate. DNC is corrupt as hell. I don't support them. I don't support them either. All right, I'm looking at this Pew Research from Spencer. Black voters also moved to Trump but remained overwhelming Democrat. Trump nearly doubled his support among black voters. 8% in 2020, 15% last year, still 83% black voters backed Harris. Men, especially men under 50. Where are you seeing, what was your claim that black men went from like 75% support to 54 or something? Black men. No, they went from 87 to 75. That's not that big. I mean, it's a big drop, but it's not enormous. I mean, why do I think that happens? Because Trump has been successful. I think it's completely phony and absurd to think that Trump represents masculinity in any certain way, but he has been successful in at least making people think that he is that, Let me see what your claim was, Spencer. Yeah, you said that it was 75 down to 54, when in reality it was 87 down to 75. So not as drastic. I thought that was too big. But still an issue. Definitely still an issue, for sure. And I think it's because Trump has been able to convince a lot of men in this country that he is this masculine answer to all their problems, which I think is totally bogus, but I think he's done a good job convincing. I want to see you react to this vid. I don't think you can put links in the chat, unfortunately. I don't know why, but... There's a new Pew poll since then. Well, that's not voting necessarily. That's just... And this is what Spencer sent me as his evidence, so... Brassman says, I don't understand how Trump convinced anyone of anything. He's such a transparent liar and BS artist. I completely agree with you. I feel like I've been saying that for years. I'm like, how are you guys falling for this? This guy is the biggest fraud that's ever existed. Like, how? Would you agree Dems need to be centrist on cultural and social issues, but deeply progressive on economic issues to win? I wouldn't say they need to be moderate on cultural social issues. I think they just need to maybe put that on the back burner for a little bit. Like, let's focus on the economic issues right now. We all know disinformation and racism played a huge role in the 2024 election, severely depressing voting turnout. I think that's a fair point. Emily says, I've listened to Trump's rally speeches. His one issue is demonizing immigrants. He's just like the nativists and the Know-Nothing Party of the 1800s. Yeah, he basically tells Americans that all of your problems are created by immigrants. And again, we know that's not true. To be fair, Kamala didn't say a word about LGBT or trans issues. The right was the ones talking about it. Exactly. Well, I see what you're saying. You're saying they already put it on the back burner. But I don't think her economic stances were good enough to propel her forward. Kamala is extremely pro-LGBT and trans. Yeah, but she wasn't touching that during the election. Whether you think she is or her past has said whatever, that she didn't, her messaging wasn't surrounding that at all. What does your dad think about what's going on? Check out Lichtman Live, his channel. Watch our latest episodes, and you can see exactly what he thinks about what's going on. Prior to the fall of the USSR, Americans learned what it was all about. Since the fall of the USSR, Americans ignored the potential threat from Russia. Big mistake. I'm not... Yeah, I agree with you, but I'm not... Yeah, I agree with you. Prime Minister Bette Midler says, I think the Dems should just stand for what they believe in. Don't try to play the game of being most moderate and to the most people. It comes across as disingenuous and puts off most voters. I think that's a very good point, actually. Very good. From the voters I spoke to that voted Trump, they knew Kamala and President Biden were very pro-trans. Okay, why are they so worried about trans issues? You know, that's the whole point of all this, is that these Trump voters were so caught up with trans issues that don't affect their life basically at all, and they voted in a man who just cut all of their Medicaid. Red herring, exactly. Culture war BS, exactly. The internet was a gift to the fascist dictators like Putin to manipulate Americans in their own homes. You make a good point. Mothers and fathers said they didn't want biological men in their daughters' sports and bathrooms. That's the most pressing issue that you're worried about? That's foolish, in my opinion. Keep Chopping says, because most Dems aren't supportive of a lot of trans issues either, it was a way to divide Dems. Maybe so. The anti-vax movement exploded via social media. Yeah, it really did. Renee DeResta's book talks all about that a lot. I would check it out. Republicans hit on wedge issues that so-called value voters key in on. They then voted against their own interests. I agree with you. I mean, especially in these red states, right? Like the chance of you having some sort of issue with a biological man in your bathroom are so low statistically, right? Compared to the reality that is now hitting all of America with this bill. Again, we're talking about, I don't want to get into sports, that's a little bit more complicated, but specifically bathrooms, right? The chances that you are negatively, or your family is negatively affected by a trans woman in a bathroom are like almost negligibly low. Like 0.00001% of the chance of that happening to you. But the chance of you losing your Medicare is now 100%. So if you're voting on that 0.00001% chance versus that 100% 100% chance, that's foolish in my mind. And Dems are too afraid to say something like that because they're so tippy-toey. But they got to say something like that. It's like, bro, if you're worried about this 0.001% chance of something bad happening in a bathroom because of a trans woman, and you're not worried about the 100% chance of you losing your Medicaid, you're foolish. And of course, maybe they shouldn't say foolish. Maybe they should be a little bit more politically correct than that. But still, they need to take on those issues head on. They can't tiptoe around it like Kamala did, you know? Tim says, I think that's part of the problem. Most have never met or had a conversation with a trans person. For sure. Philip, thanks for the donation. So they want trans men going into women's bathrooms. So they want trans men going into women's bathrooms. Right, that's a fair point. I never thought about it like that before. So if you're forced to go into your biological bathroom, that means... Oh, I see what you're saying. Wait, no, now I'm confused. They want trans men's going into women's bathrooms. I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Trans men were biologically female. Right. I still don't get your point. And there's so much hypocrisy in this. Like people like Nancy Mace who support Donald Trump, who is a known sexual assaulter, and she's going in on, you know, she's using her, and I totally respect her own experience with rape, but she's using that to hurt other people who experience the similar things. I'm sorry, but trans people are not going around raping people or sexually assaulting people. It's just not happening. And you go and support a man, Donald Trump, and many Republicans who are known sexual assaulters. So it's all BS. They want a person that presents as a male to go into women's bathrooms. Yeah, that's weird too. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, that's strange too. Mace used to be pro-trans before she jumped on the MAGA bandwagon. Is that true? Some of these issues push voters to become independent Republican or even vote for Trump, former Democrats. Why? That's my whole point, is why? If you're so pushed by trans issues that you're going to vote for a man like Trump, I cannot wrap my mind around that. It doesn't reflect any real facts of the reality of this country that we live in. Again, if you're going to go to the 0.001% in place of the 100% chance, that's crazy. Some people feel the Dems went too far left, not just on trans issues. Okay, that's fine, and maybe, and that's a valid take. I'm saying what's not valid is to say that I'm going to switch my voting based off trans people in bathrooms, which has almost no effect on my life, and vote for Trump and risk losing Medicaid and risk a massive deficit and risk more tax breaks for rich people. That is crazy. I mean, we could go issue by issue if a voter presented them, you know what I mean? But generally saying, oh, the Dems are too far left. Okay, that's fine. That's, I think, valid, but a lot of voters are single issue focused. Again, that's fine. But if your single issue is trans people in your bathroom, I like to have a conversation. That's all. You know, that doesn't make sense to me. That's a small fraction of the reason Trump won. The vast majority of it's due to disinformation. It didn't cause people to switch to Trump. It caused them not to vote. I think that's a good point. Suggested trans are humans too in a forum today. Wow, did I get read the Riot Act? Yeah, the anti-trans stuff is just pretty sickening. And it's like, gay people and trans people have existed on planet Earth for forever. To ancient Rome, to, you know, like, you're not going to be able to get rid of them. So you have to, you know, this is a message to the right wing, obviously. Like, you're not going to be able to get rid of them. So you better learn to live with them, or else you're going to be on the wrong side of history. Guaranteed. Philip H. says it was part of the right propaganda, whine about something not happening and convince your audience it's real. Absolutely. You're right. What's the solution to that? That's the $1 million question, though, right? There are also voters that vote purely based on their religious values. They don't look at other side of things. Well, if they're voting purely on their religious values, they should not vote for Donald Trump. So there's that. What video games do I play? I play, I do a lot of GeoGuessr. Recently I've been playing the Spider-Man games. I like playing Red Dead games, GTA. Recently I played Ghost of Tsushima, to name a few. Keep doing what you're doing. Your channel and your dad's is combating the problem. More left-wing media. Thank you. I don't know if we're left-wing media, but thank you. How long do you think before we see a third party be competitive with Dems and Republicans for president? Not in our lifetime, I don't think. Do I miss my hair? Yes and no. Like, when I kind of forget I don't have hair until like I look in the mirror, and then I'm like, oh God, I'm bald. And it's so easy to like maintain. Let's say you just wake up in the morning, you don't have to do your hair, you know, washing it's easy. But I don't think this is my best look, you know. We make games, you keep putting some video that I need to react to, and it just says GVY7ABOH7GA. So I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. Yeah, bro, definitely consider doing a video game stream. Guys, go to my live, go to the live tab on my channel, and there's so many game streams on there that you can watch, and I'll do it more. Did you use too much shampoo the first time? Oh, definitely. I was like swimming in shampoo. I was like, oh my God, there's no hair here. I don't need all this shampoo. But it's so easy to wash, and it feels so clean, and it's just so easy to wash. I washed it the other day. I washed it just with a bar of soap because I didn't have any shampoo. Just Google that. All right, if this is weird, we make games, I'm going to give you a 5-minute timeout on the chat. What's a good game for MacBook Air? I don't know. Macs don't really have great. Who Broke the Democrats is the title. Let's see. Aiden Hall. Oops. Oh, God dang it.
That may seem unrelated to the topic of this video, but trust me, it'll make sense in a second.
Thank you so much. You just have no idea how warming and how generous.
I don't know if I have 20 minutes. I don't know if I have 20 minutes to watch this right now. How long have I been going for? I've been going for over an hour. Let's do a poll. Should I watch this video? Yes or no? Let's see. What's the video about? I guess about who broke the Democrats. Shit, it's 53% yes. That's not enough to get me to watch it. It's got to be like 60+% at this point, because I'm tired. And I don't even think I'm going to be live for another 20 minutes, to be honest with you. It's gone up to 55%. Okay, oh no, it's at the 58%. Okay, down to 56. People are voting yes out of spite. Rest if you're tired, Sam. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll do this another day. I don't have it in me right now. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. Uh-oh. Oh, we still have 160 people watching, though. I'm tired though, folks. I gotta sign off. I want to keep streaming, but I gotta go chill, and it's so hot in this room. But I appreciate every single one of you, and if you're subscribed, make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know I'm live. I don't have the greatest stream schedule, and sometimes I'm just randomly on. So if you got my notification bell on, it'll tell you, hey, I'm live. And you can come and hang out. Have a good 4th of July, everybody. I appreciate every single one of you, honestly.